BR2-30 local, the invisible line that Taiwan drew in the sand years ago. The Taiwan Strait lies black and motionless under a moonless sky, the kind of night that swallows radar returns and makes sonar operators hear ghosts. 84 massive amphibious ships of the planned Southern Theater Command, escorted by 22 Type 055 Renhai-class cruisers, 30 Type 052D Luoyang 3 destroyers, 6 Type 093B nuclear attack subs running silent on the flanks, and the 85,000-ton aircraft carrier CNS Fujian at the heart of the formation are steaming south at a confident 22 knots, navigation lights extinguished, believing they own the darkness. They have rehearsed this exact run 100 times in the South China Sea. Tonight is supposed to be the real thing, the thunder run that plants the 5-star red flag on Taipei before breakfast. The admirals on the flagship CNS Fujian even allowed themselves a quiet toast with Baijiu an hour ago. They will never finish that drink, because 60,000 Taiwanese Sea Dragon smart naval mines, each one a matte black hydrodynamically perfect capsule the size of a 55-gallon drum, have been sleeping on the silty bottom since the winter of 2019. Seated in total secrecy by modified fishing trawlers, civilian cargo ships, and even underwater drones launched from submerged containers. No one in Beijing ever believed the rumors. They thought it was American disinformation. They were wrong. At exactly 0231.07, the first capsule, serial number SD004127, detects the unmistakable 21-blade screw signature of a Type 055 cruising at 22 knots, magnetic anomaly confirmed, pressure wave pattern confirmed. Then it hears the low-frequency metallic heartbeat that every Sea Dragon has been trained to recognize. The hydraulic whine of 72 cold-launch VLS cell doors opening in perfect synchronization across the entire escort screen. That sound is the dinner bell. SD004127 wakes up, pings its neighbors with a 445-nanometer blue-green laser pulse that travels through seawater like it was glass. And within 0.9 seconds, the entire 400-square-kilometer minefield achieves swarm consciousness. 60,000 individual neural networks merge into one distributed brain running at 400 GBps. They look up through the darkness, see the forest of propellers churning overhead, and collectively decide. Tonight we feast. These are not the dumb contact minds of World War II, nor even the semi-smart captor minds of the Cold War. Each Sea Dragon is a fusion of a Mark 68 heavyweight torpedo, a 200-pound shaped charge warhead, a liquid lithium battery pack, a pump jet capable of 65-knot sprint, and most importantly an onboard neuromorphic chip trained on 10 million real-world hours of plan acoustic magnetic and electromagnetic signatures. They know the difference between a Type 055 and a Type 054A frigate the way a wolf knows elk from deer. They know the sound of a Fujian-class carrier's steam catapult cycling. They even know the unique infrasound signature of a crewman flushing a vacuum toilet on a Type 052D. They have been listening for 6 years. They are very, very patient. The first victim is CNS Xiamen, lead ship of the 3rd Destroyer Flotilla. 3 Sea Dragons detached from the mud at 620 meters depth, tilt vertical and accelerate upward like missiles. They ignore the hull plating entirely. Instead, they home on the spinning screws, 1 mine per shaft. Impact velocity 68 knots. The titanium propellers disintegrate into glittering confetti. The reduction gears scream for 1.8 seconds and then seize solid. Xiamen loses all propulsion instantly, momentum carrying her forward while she heels 28 degrees to port, her captain still shouting, "Where is the torpedo launch?" into a dead microphone because no torpedo was ever launched. The shockwave alone from the triple detonation fractures the tail shafts of 2 nearby sister ships, CNS Wuxi and CNS Anqing. 3 13,000-ton cruisers crippled before the first human brain on the bridge has finished processing the flash report. But the swarm is just warming up. 10,000 capsules surface to 30 meters depth in perfect choreography, forming a living, breathing wall 40 kilometers wide and 12 layers deep that begins swimming northwest at 28 knots, faster than any amphibious ship can run. Every time a destroyer attempts to break formation and sprint for the Chinese coast, a dozen mines accelerate ahead at 65 knots, plant themselves in a diamond lattice directly in the path, and wait. The wall moves like a giant amoeba, contracting, expanding, pulsing, herding the entire invasion fleet the way border collies herd sheep. Except these sheep are made of steel and these collies explode. At Oro 258, the flagship CNS Nanchang decides to play hero. The Admiral orders flank speed 34 knots, full rudder, and rams. Straight through what the tactical display still shows as clear water. He has chosen single-handedly the densest node of the kill web. 22 Sea Dragons rise around Nanchang in a perfect inverted cone, their fiber-optic seekers locking on the exact same pixel, the forward 1 to 12 cell VLS farm. They detonate in a precisely sequenced ripple, 0.3 seconds apart. The shaped charge plasma cutters slice through the deck armor like it is cardboard, meeting inside the magazine where 72 HQ-9B surface-to-air missiles are already loaded and armed. The resulting sympathetic detonation is visible from space. Nanchang physically lifts 10 meters out of the water, breaks her back across the middle, and disappears beneath a fireball that climbs about 200 feet and turns night into noon for 30 seconds. Burning debris rains across a 5-mile radius. A chunk of the forward mast lands on the flight deck of the carrier Fujian 22 miles away, punching straight through the gallery deck into the hangar bay and igniting 2 parked J-35 stealth fighters like birthday candles. Panic spreads faster than the fire. The Yan'an remaining Type 055s, Renshai, Dalian, Yan'an, Lhasa. Execute emergency crashbacks, engines reversing at 110%, screws churning the sea into milk. That is the worst possible thing they could do. Reversing propellers create massive cavitation bubbles that ring like cathedral bells to passive acoustic arrays. The swarm hears the new dinner bell and converges from every compass point. 40 mines per hull sprint in at 200 knots in supercavitating mode, some slamming into the bilge keels, others punching straight through the sonar domes, a few simply detonating under the keel and snapping spines like matchsticks. By 0345, the plan has lost 6 of its 8 priceless Type 055 Renhai-class cruisers, the ships that were supposed to shield the amphibious force from Harpoon and NSM barrages that never even needed to be fired. The invasion fleet is now trapped inside a living cage of thinking steel that is actively rewriting its geometry faster than any human tactical plot can update. At Oro 400, the Fujian carrier group attempts to withdraw north at 32 knots. The swarm lets them go for exactly 8 minutes, then 20 Sea Dragon Block IA variants, the ones with extended range batteries. Break off and chase the carrier at 50 knots submerged. They surface in a perfect ring 30 miles ahead of Fujian, submerge again to 40 meters, and go quiet. The carrier steams straight into the new ambush box. The captain orders an emergency 90-degree turn to port. The swarm mirrors the turn in 11 seconds. The captain orders starboard. The swarm mirrors again. The carrier is now steaming in helpless circles while J-15s try to launch in panic and immediately ditch because the flight deck is on fire from falling debris. By sunrise, the Fujian limps into Xiamen Harbor with her bow sonar dome torn off, 2 shafts bent, and half her air wing reduced to charred skeletons. Beijing imposes total radio silence for 6 full hours. When the propaganda machine finally spins up, the official story is a large-scale live-fire training accident involving unsafe ammunition storage procedures. Satellite imagery tells a different tale. 41 major surface combatants either sunk or mission-killed, 27 amphibious ships abandoned and burning, over 18,000 sailors missing or confirmed dead, and the entire invasion wave scattered across 300 nautical miles of ocean like broken toys. The Penghu Islands are still Taiwanese. Taipei's streetlights never even flickered. The geopolitical aftershocks hit like a tsunami. The U.S. 7th Fleet, which never left port, releases a single understated tweet. The Taiwan Strait appears to have enforced its own no-sail zone tonight. Japan quietly surges 4 Soryu-X submarines to the Miyako Strait and reopens negotiations for permanent basing rights on Yonaguni. The Philippines signs the Visiting Forces Agreement extension before lunch. Australia moves an additional squadron of F-35As to Tyndall for exercises. India quietly offers to sell BrahMos 2 hypersonic missiles to Vietnam at friendship prices. And in a closed-door session of the Legislative Yuan, President Lai Ching-te has reportedly shown the unedited drone footage of Nanchang's magazine detonation on loop, while the entire cabinet applauds like they're at a rock concert. The military lessons are colder than the seabed. First, smart minefields with distributed AI just made traditional amphibious warfare mathematically impossible against a prepared defender. Second, area denial has become orders of magnitude cheaper than area dominance. The entire Sea Dragon program cost Taiwan roughly the price of 2 Patriot batteries, yet it just erased a multi-hundred-billion-dollar invasion armada in under 3 hours. Third, the age of human-in-the-loop is officially over. 60,000 capsules made lethal fire decisions faster and more accurately than any admiral afloat that night. Fourth, the plan now has to treat every drop of water within 150 nautical miles of Taiwan as potentially hostile, which means the entire first island chain just became one giant off-limits kill box. And the nightmare isn't finished. Phase 2 is already on the bottom. Sea Dragon Block 2 capsules, each carrying a vertical launch 2,500-kilometer range land attack cruise missile with a 1,000-pound penetrating warhead, and a target folder that includes every major port, every 3-digit highway bridge, every 3 gorges dam spillway gates, and the Beijing-Shanghai high-speed rail viaducts. They are sleeping quietly right now, batteries sipping milliwatts, waiting for the next fleet that forgets the ocean has learned how to think. Sleep well, Beijing. The dragon you tried to strangle Taiwan with just grew 60,000 heads, and every single one of them has a PhD in applied physics. They don't need orders. They don't need mercy. They only need the sound of your propellers crossing the line one more time. And when that day comes, the sea itself will rise up and finish the job it started tonight.